We are all living our own stories. Some of us are heroes. Some of us are in a coming-of-age novel. Some of us are in a thriller, trying to survive. And some of us are even in a horror movie, suffering the worst of fates. Everybody sees the world through different eyes because they're living a different life, with different meanings, different experiences. Much of this has to do with the situation you were born into, who you are as an individual at your core, the values you were instilled, the experiences you have had. But when you boil it down to its simplest idea, you're a living consciousness experiencing life. Your story will be different, but you are just consciousness experiencing life. Now, in all these stories, you're the lead character, the main role. You take it upon yourself to move that story forward and do the things that you're supposed to do, or that you think you're supposed to do, so that you can reach the conclusion of the story, the climax of the story. And you might be inclined to dwell in the safe and enjoyable parts of the story. All stories have ups and downs. All stories have a little bit of drama, conflict, and then there's resolution. All stories teach us a lesson. And all the stories have one big lesson, and the question is, will you ever learn that lesson? You see, in life, more likely than not, you will reach a point where you get to your wit's end, where you've just become so overburdened and so overwhelmed that you don't know what to do. And when you get into that crisis and you are struggling to find a solution and you see it's an impossible situation, that is the moment where you can finally learn that most important lesson. You see, throughout your whole story, it's been all about you. Throughout your whole story, you've been the one who's taken charge to do the things that you want to do and the things that you need to do. It's all been you. And so your mind is used to thinking in terms of, this is what I want, this is what I need to do. But in that moment of crisis, you realize, I can't do everything. I don't know everything. My world is falling apart. What can I do? And at that moment, that's where you make the choice. Do you let go of your pride? Do you let go of that character that you've used to define yourself and reach out to your Heavenly Father and say, God, what do you want me to do? What can I do? I am lost. I don't know what to do. I am going crazy here. I'm at my wit's end. Please tell me, what do I do? I know I've never consulted you. Maybe I've talked to you every other Sunday and said hi, a couple little prayers here asking for things, but right now, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I can do. I just know I'm in this situation and I don't see a way of getting out of it. God, tell me, what can I do? How do I get out of this situation? Lead me, guide me, tell me. At that moment, you will finally have the chance to open yourself up completely to your Heavenly Father and listen to His guidance. Up to that moment, it is very rare to find somebody who will have this kind of relationship with God. Most people will think of God as an intellectual process. Most people may experience God by going to religious celebrations. But not many people will have that intimate connection where they see Him as a real person, a real lifeline. Not many people will get out of their own way, stop talking to themselves and actually open themselves up to listening to God. But in that moment of crisis in your story, that is your opportunity. And if you are wholehearted in your plea, in your request, if you totally open yourself up to Him and actually reach out with all of your being, chances are you will feel His guidance, you will hear His voice, you'll be led to do something that you didn't know you could do. You will become aware of options that you did not know were available. Or the world might move in a certain way that out of the blue, someone will come up to you and say, "Hey, do you need some help?" And after this happens, many people who have awakened to the fact that they can actually reach out to their Heavenly Father will then start to rationalize it away as, it was just a coincidence. It wasn't real. It was a figment of my imagination. I can't speak to God. Some people will start thinking about things and start reading the material that's out there, and they'll start saying, well, I was calling out to God, but God is inside of me. I did this. And they'll go down the path of being absorbed in themselves rather than looking out towards their Heavenly Father. And now this chance, this lesson that you could have learned, that, hey, I've got a Heavenly Father out there who's looking out for me and I should listen to Him and do His will, that lesson does not get learned. And you move on with your life, and you missed out on one of the biggest lessons you could have learned while you were alive.